Folks, the biggest win for the Falcons since 2017, I like to say. I'm your host, Allen Strk, right now. A little bit of a remix as Kevin will be back shortly. I'm going to host the show for a few minutes. Wow. Look, we're going to nitpick a little bit, but any sort of negativity right now, we're throwing out the window. The Atlanta Falcons just beat the Buffalo Bills. They have beaten a legit Super Bowl contender. There was nothing fluky about it. One of the most masterful defensive performances we have seen in a very long time. Jeff Ulbrich came to this game. He had quite the history against Josh Allen. I was a little skeptical because the Jets defense had Sauce Gardner, Quill Williams, C.J. Mosley. I was thinking Falcons don't have quite that defense. But then Jeff Ulbrich decides we're going to blitz over 50% of the time. We're going to generate pressure about 40% of the time. We're going to just have a plan where Josh Allen really can't scramble till the final possession. And he just got rattled. And across the board, all three levels of the defense, just exceptionally done. They were so well organized. You have players like Knight and Allen Strk, who I feel like every game now, just 3 to 4 times, just affects in so many different ways. David Onyemaya looking as rejuvenated as ever. Jalen Walker, I thought, had his best game. And then even secondary, outside of a few blemishes, David held really nicely. We want to see this Falcon defense. Are they for real? Because obviously they played J.J. McCarthy, Marcus Mariota, Bryce Young. And the numbers are a little bit skewed. Everyone's talking about, oh, they really number one DVI, but this is as big of a statement performance you could have. And I haven't even mentioned yet the best running back in the league having his, I don't even know if I want to call it a breakout moment, but at least having that signature highlight reel. And it wasn't just him planting Ed Oliver on his backside, who looked like a man possessed in the second half. That 81-yard touchdown run, good Lord, just something you don't see every week. And the pace that he runs with, the ferocity, the elusiveness, like it was a Bijan game. And then you still have Tyler Algier contributor in there. Poor Taylor Rapp, just another safety that decides that we're not going to use proper technique to tackle. We're going to lower shoulder. And if you lower your shoulder against a full rushing Tyler Algier, your face is going to be on the ground. And he learned the hard way. And how about Drake London? My, oh my. We've seen some first halves in the past where receivers just go off. Drake London, he just found every void in Buffalo's soft zone coverage throughout the first half. And wow, you could go on and on. Like, we're going to get into it. I can't wait to interact with everybody. These are the games you want to see as a fan. Like, I'm just breaking out all the highlights, but when it comes to just all the frustration, the past, all the near misses, because going to this game, it kind of was reminiscent of that Falcons-Chiefs game from last year, where it's like, okay, you're playing one of the true established contenders in the league. Can you deliver? There's not a lot of margin for error because you know how capable the team is on the other side of the ball. And man, this team delivered in so many aspects. And we're going to dive into it right now. We're both wearing matching jerseys. My co-host is back, Kevin Knight. We're wearing a legendary jersey. By the way, Drake London looking quite a bit like Julio, particularly after.
Yeah. So we had to get the Julio jerseys because we had a player do something that hasn't been done since Julio was in Atlanta, right, with Drake London's performance today. So really calling back to some of the best Falcons receivers we've ever seen with tonight's performance. And I heard some of it. I know you were covering a lot of the stuff, but just a transcendent coming out party for this Falcons team who really had to come in on Monday Night Football and make a statement against a team that, a lot of people, I think, really were expecting to be one of the top contenders in the NFL. I think they have been. They certainly do have their issues, and I think the Falcons did a tremendous job of really hammering those weaknesses in this game, and especially on the defensive side of the ball, really coming after them and just showing that they were the better team, like, throughout the game. I mean, there was the third quarter was a little sketchy. Okay, let's be honest. They gave up the touchdown, but it was kind of like the same thing happened to start the game. Bills came out with a great scripted drive, marched down the field and scored, and then that was kind of all they could muster. Did the same thing to start the second half. So, I think Joe Brady obviously was able to scheme up some stuff, but Ulbrich did a great job of just bouncing back and staying on top of it. And the Falcons made the Bills' life hell. I mean, I've never seen this defense look like this. It's incredible stuff. Incredible stuff today, Alan.
Yeah, against this caliber of opponent, against a very good offensive line. I know, look, third quarter we talked about the Bills running game got going, but I thought they did a great job of neutralizing James Cook. I know James Cook still had a good statistical performance, but I feel like a large part of it was off one drive. James Cook, to me, is one of the most dangerous running backs in the league. His elusiveness. I think a lot of these Bills players are so elusive. You look at Khalil Shakir. You look at even Elijah Moore, Keon Cole. I know Chris Samuel didn't play, but like these Bills players, they know I make players miss. And okay, there's maybe one moment where Xavier Watts missed that made Divine Diablo. And look, we even mentioned Josh Allen, his ability to make defenders miss and run through contact. Falcons just played a well-disciplined game. And I think that's been the story this season. Is like this defense, minus a few holding penalties, they don't beat themselves. And I was just so impressed by their gap discipline and rush integrity. Like these edge rushers who we know besides Leonard Floyd, and I guess Arnold Ebiketie is somewhat of a veteran now, but it's still an experienced group. And I'd never seen Josh Allen really not make an impact with his legs. They completely neutralized him. And he was forced time and time again to throw the ball up where it was just a prayer. And I think the Bills ended up, at one point, they were 2 for 9 on third down. They had 4 3-and-outs. The Bills offense doesn't do this. They are a juggernaut.
Yeah, they scored 30. They were averaging almost 30 a game going into this.
Like, this doesn't happen. Like, people are saying Falcons defense, okay, look, they were coasting a bit on it. Both teams kind of had favorable starts this season, schedule-wise. But this is a landmark performance, man.
Yes, if you are skeptical about the Falcons defense, you can't be skeptical anymore. Did the Bills have the best receiving core? No, but that hasn't stopped them from scoring 30 points a game. Like this is the same receiving core. That they lost Josh Palmer in this one, but let's be honest, like Palmer wasn't exactly a target hog for that offense. Like he gives them a dimension that I think they clearly lack without him. But
they had a full strength offensive line.
Yeah. Yeah, the Falcons are playing with 4th and 5th string offensive tackles at this point, Alan. Like,
yeah, we mentioned that.
Yeah, it's just like it just hasn't slowed them down. Like Jarrell was okay, like, and to get thrown in there at left tackle, like just no reps. I mean, he was okay, and I think it's like maybe it's just like something you have to trust Dwayne Ledford with. Like he's just gonna get these guys ready to play at a passable level. Like it seems like almost no matter who they throw in there. So.
When it comes to coaching, I thought the Falcons completely outcoached the Bills. And the offense had a couple of blemishes, but I thought Zach Robinson once again called another really good game.
Yeah.
He must have locked himself in a room this summer for like 2 weeks and just watched Christian McCaffrey tape. The way they're operating at times, it's just like, wow, they are completely using Bijan the way Kyle Shanahan uses Christian McCaffrey. Did you get that impression? And damn it, I was going to do this before, but you already had a sip. Folks, if you're drinking, if you're eating,
I thought you'd already opened yours. Sorry.
Yeah, I know, but I want to have a proper cheers moment.
Yes, we will. We will.
Creation. No, let's do
that. Oh, man. Okay.
Proper moment here. In creation, we say Ghibli to everyone watching this. We appreciate it right now. We're going to celebrate this moment. Cheers, Ghibli. Any other language? I know we got Aussie listeners. I know we got
Salute, Italian, right?
Salute, so everyone enjoy this. We're gonna go off for a little bit tonight.
Yeah, like it. You guys, like, we don't get this very often as Falcons fans, so just live it up. We're not going to spend too much time, until the end of the show really talking about what this means or anything else going on. Like, it's a big win against a premium opponent. Just take what it is and enjoy it. So
we are not talking about Penix's near pick 6 till 11:30.
Never happened. Yeah, no, never happened. Yep. That was the one, like, psycho. I feel like each coordinator has, like, a psycho level play that they call, like, every game. That was a psycho level play for sure. Like, oh, let's just go empty. I mean, they technically had Charlie Werner, so I guess it's not technically empty, but there wasn't a running back in play, which, like, why you would ever not have a running back, not going to get into that, but don't do that. Just don't do that, and we'll move on from that. But,
I'm curious, just to backtrack, though, do you feel like they've taken some concepts from San Francisco and how they're utilizing Bijan and McCaffrey? Because I'm seeing some familiarity there. It's going to be very fun to watch that game next week. By the way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right, Nico. It's French. It's another Romance language. Sorry. I should have known that. I'm going to do better next time, guys. But yeah, I mean, I think Bijan's role is really special, and I think that's kind of what's solidifying him as, like, truly one of the best players in the NFL is that he's now running wide receiver plays, like, just straight up. And he's really, I think, just joined the Falcons receiver core in a way to where it's like, I mean, that's part of the reason I think they deactivated Ray McLeod is because, like, a lot of times if they're going to go to quasi 11, they're just going to make Bijan the slot receiver and, like, or just move him around and have him doing something. So they really, like I think they've correctly assessed that like they don't really have a third receiver that's worth playing right now, like over these other guys. Like they're gonna run 12, they're gonna run 20, they're gonna run 21, like 13 even at some points tonight, right? So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I don't want to speculate. But you don't think they're playing deeper with the McLeod situation? I have a very hard time believing they would play David Stills over him.
I agree. I mean, I think they were more looking for like outside guys because of the Mooney injury, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't really get having him inactive other than the fact that I think they were clearly going to emphasize the run in this game. And McLeod just doesn't offer you anything as a blocker. Like that's his biggest problem is he just doesn't contribute there. Not necessarily for lack of trying. He just isn't really capable of it. And I think they want everybody blocking because they recognize that this run game and what they can do with Bijan, that's the engine of this offense. I think maybe going into this season, they were like, maybe this will be more 11, will be more pass heavy. But really, I think this is like the ultimate balanced offense in the NFL right now, where they can lean on both sides of the ball and don't really need to overemphasize one or the other. And I think this is actually the better scenario because, as you can see, like we're not going to criticize Penix tonight, but like you can tell he's still a young quarterback. His clock's a little too fast sometimes. He's still a little bit off target on a couple throws, but the talent is just it's off the charts. That touchdown to London was an absolute bullet. Like if that's misplaced even a little or thrown even a little bit slower, it's a pass breakup or a dangerous throw. But because he could put that on the money on time, not a lot of quarterbacks have that kind of velocity at that point, and that's a really special throw. And he definitely, like, he hit a really nice throw to Casey Washington that was dropped, and that was a good play by the defense too. But like, he had some great throws in this. He also had some questionable decisions. You can tell he's kind of pre-selecting the read too much. Can't really get away with that in the NFL. But again, we're not here to really criticize. It's more like minor blemishes on what it's a great pass defense. That's the thing. Like this, despite, I mean, they did have more injuries in this game, but like even with their secondary injuries, the Bills defense is one of the best in the NFL. Not against the run, as we saw, but against the pass, they're definitely a good defense.
They are undersized, but they're very well coached and organized. Like they run coverage disguises that really rattle young quarterbacks. Like McDermott, just they know how to utilize that zone coverage. But it just seemed like time and time again, London found the voids and boom, they just punished it. But I do think if McLeod is out of favor, I do think they kind of need to move for that receiver. I don't think they could go. I don't think this plan is sustainable without Mooney. Like I think they need another receiver there because you just saw they were a little too reliant on London at times. Pitts was kind of neutralized. Like if they want someone that's more of a blocker, they'll call up Alan Lazard. Like to me, just I don't think they with this. If McLeod they're not going to play, I think you got to add somebody because it's clear that Kadero Hodge is not going to get snaps either. So I just don't know if you could go with, depending on the health status of Mooney, but just having Casey Washington, David Stills, you want to get Penix more options because he was pressing a little bit.
Yeah, and again, he's got to get better there. There's no doubt about that. But it's it is what it is. This is a great defense. You got to play aggressively against this defense. And like the second half, where I think his most questionable play came was when he was under a lot more pressure. Particularly like in the third quarter. It took those guys a little bit to get effing set, as Matt Ryan would say. It was there. Yeah, it was. And I think it takes a little time to work some new offensive linemen, and luckily they managed to get it together and string together a real drive there at the end that was critical. But definitely, the offense could have been sharper. And like, again, like they were like an inch. They were Raheem Morris clock management issues away from just taking it to the Bills. Like that should have been a touchdown to London, or at least down to the one with an opportunity to punch it in. And, Raheem Morris, once again, just doesn't seem to understand what he's doing before the half. Somebody's got to take the controls away from him. Like somebody else has to be doing the game management because Raheem can't do it. Somebody needs to be standing next to him, telling him when he needs to take timeouts. This is an NFL organization. Like, we just need to have someone do that. Like, we're all adults here. Raheem, you got too much going on. We'll have someone there to tell you what to do. It's okay. It doesn't make you any, I think it makes you actually a real strong coach if you understand your shortcomings and work to improve them by bringing in more coaches to help you. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So.
I was ready to give Adnan on the floor, but he's enjoying a nice post-game meal. Adnan, when you're ready, let the people know.
Yeah, welcome in, Adnan. How you doing? Oh, nice.
We have some nice post-game fruit right now.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. Happy Victory Monday, fellas. Oh,
yes.
God, what a win.
Big win.
I never at any point imagined that this team would beat the Bills, like ever. Like when the schedule first released, I think we all chalked this game up like as a, okay, you'll lose to the Bills, but that's okay. Just take care of business otherwise. And yeah, like even looking at it, I think I even remember at one point during camp saying, man, it sucks that the bye week is the week before the Bills game because it feels like a wasted bye week, in a way of like, why couldn't it be before the Saints or before like, a game where it's like the Bucks or a game that's more in the balance, because I just didn't expect to win this game. But like, holy shit, not only did they win the game, but they sort of took it to the Bills. Like this team sort of shot themselves in the foot a little bit, especially at the end of that half. And then of course with the blocked kick, which, maybe probably doesn't go in even if it wasn't blocked. Like that was 9 points, 9 up to 12 points that was just left on the board. And the Bills just could never sort of take advantage. I was expecting the other shoe to drop the entire second half. Like, you cannot keep leaving points on the board against an elite NFL team and for it to, not come back and bite you in the ass. And then it just never did because the defense just had Josh Allen figured out. Like, it's been a while since I've seen Josh Allen that, like, sort of rattled a little bit. Like, he was... That was not the Josh Allen that won the MVP award last year. That's not the Josh Allen that's dominated this league the past few years. And I don't know. I just was not expecting this defense. I mean, the defense has been, good. Like it's been very good. It's exceeded all of our expectations. But I definitely thought they would, come back to earth a little bit this week, especially with AJ Terrell, even with AJ Terrell coming back. And then, the Bills go down the field, score on that first drive, and it's like, okay, here we go. And yeah, no, that was such a dominating performance. It sort of reminded me of that 2012 Monday Night Football game. I think it was week 2 against Peyton Manning and the Broncos, where the defense was just like the Falcons defense was not the strong suit of the team. You just expected Peyton Manning to just have his way up and down the field with them. And then I think Mike Nolan, deploy that amoeba defense that just didn't work against anyone. But for some reason, it just stifled one of the greatest, minds in NFL history in Peyton Manning. So I was just sort of drawing the comparison in that game a little bit of, it was so unexpected, but Josh Allen was just as stifled as Peyton Manning was all 13 years ago.
Man, that's such a great flashback. And
yeah,
remember, Brent Grimes suffered a season-ending injury the week before the opening game, so they had to just. I think that was Robert McLean's breakout performance, and I think that's the first time we saw Corey Bierman drop 20 yards back in coverage. So yeah, that 2012 defense was fun, but
it never worked again. It never worked again, but against Peyton Manning, it definitely worked. That was the game with the replacement officials as well.
Oh God, man, dark times for the league.
Dark times. Oh my.
Yeah, but I love the fact, before I look at both interceptions, great plays there, with the offer, but both plays had pressure, or at least Josh Allen had his vision deterred. Where the first one you saw Jalen Walker, who I want to talk about his performance, so I just felt he was very active. He had a nice counter inside move to get his hands right in Josh Allen's face to force a throw into the offer's head, and then Zach Harrison, who got planted by Dawson Knox, totally blindside, gets up, chases Josh Allen out of the pocket, and just got to put your hands up. You never know what can happen. You put your hands up. And on a night where Felipe Franks had 2 snaps, the game just had to end with D'Angelo Malone with an interception, where it's just how on earth did 2 of the most random players end up making decisive plays? And wow, unreal. But it just encapsulate the Falcons where their pass rush, where and I think this kind of sums up the defense, where there's not one truly standout elite performer. I can't tell you if any defensive player really shined. Caden Ellis always have an impact 3-4 different ways. Divine Diablo everywhere on the field. I think Onyema's continue to have a rejuvenated year, and you saw AJ Terrell's impact, but there wasn't one standout performer. This is just a total collective effort where players are in the right place at the right time, and you just see the cohesion and you see the pressure plan, and it's a little reminiscent like what Ryan Nielsen did in terms of the organization, but this team just has better athletes. They're far more quicker, and they're closing down passing lanes pretty quickly too. And it's just, man, what a beautiful performance. Man. I can't say
Jeff Ulbrich is going to reach cult hero status at this point, the same way that Ryan Nielsen did. For like it doesn't take much. Like the bar is so low. Just give us 1 year of like we're still to this day talking up Ryan Nielsen. He got fired from Jacksonville. They hate him 6 hours south of Atlanta, but like here he's like a cult hero. So Jeff Ulbrich's definitely on his way at this point.
Yeah,
so it's Ryan Nielsen, but they never faced someone quite like Josh Allen. You know, they had their fun against bad QBs.
They did. That defense did play way better than expected. Like I'm giving Ryan Nielsen all his props, but I think this defense is much better. And I think this was the litmus test, right? This was like, okay, the Falcons played Baker Mayfield and the Bucs well, and that team looks like one of the best offenses in the NFL. So that game I think carries more weight than maybe people thought at the time, because the Bucs have only gotten more injured since then. So it's not like the Falcons were like taking advantage of a weakened Bucs team. Like they've only gotten more injured and still been pooping on teams. And then
now is probably the front runner for MVP.
Yeah,
it has to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. There's no denying.
He definitely is.
And that was a worst game he's played. Like that week one.
Yep. The Falcons, basically, JJ McCarthy may not get his job back. Like that's how bad the Falcons made him look. I mean, we'll see, but I mean, he probably will, because let's be honest, nobody else in Minnesota is going to win that job. So Kirk Cousins, we'll send you Kirk Cousins. But
I'm so close to throwing my hands up and being like, yeah, I know I was completely wrong about this defense. Like coming into the year, I was like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think this defense is being built for next year. I wasn't expecting such great success this year. I felt like it was too young, not enough depth. But, I mean, yeah, we're a third of the way through the season, and it's like it's not like last year where it's like, all right, the first 2 weeks, they're playing well, but it's only the first 2 weeks. There's not a sample size. Now the sample size is kind of getting there a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm curious for both you guys, because I've highlighted a couple players, and we could talk about Jeff Ulbrich, of course, but I know, Kevin, if you want to go, or is there like one or two players you want to pinpoint, like, okay, these guys really made the difference?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that Divine Diablo, even though I don't think this was his most flashy game, he unlocks so much for what they want to do, because he could just do a little bit of everything. I think he's really a linchpin player. So I'll go with him. And again, he didn't necessarily make the plays himself, but he was really important here. And then, I mean, D. Alford has done nothing but he had a hard time against Deebo Samuel. Okay, yeah, that's a tough matchup. He he had a sack. He had a great pick. That was an awesome interception, and he played great. He almost led the team in tackles. D. Alford, I don't think I ever slandered you that bad, but if I did, I owe you an apology. I mean, I think Adnan's really the one that owes you. No, I'm just kidding. But no apology.
You're not wrong. I have slandered that man up and down.
Yeah. So Alford is absolutely taken to this new scheme, and I think he deserves a big shout out.
No, I'll give Alford his flowers for sure. He's played well this year. He's genuinely played well, even when he had to cover Justin Jefferson in a pinch. That worked out way better than it did last year.
Great job against Ted McMillan.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's been good. And the thing is, he was sort of the fan base's whipping boy coming into the year of oh no, everything's gonna be D. Alford's fault. But he's been a pleasant surprise, just like Mike Hughes was last year. Mike Hughes went into the season last year, and everyone was complaining about, oh, it's Mike Hughes, he's so bad. Hughes was fine last year. He was good. He was a very good cornerback too. And now it's now I guess it's D. Alford's turn to sort of prove the fan base wrong a little bit. Yeah.
And good for him, good for him doing it. And the Falcons have needed it, because they, I think Bowman was kind of a little bit of a surprise inactive, but I think the Falcons were preparing to have D. Alford step in there. Obviously, he's a lot of experience in the slot, so that's great. I mean, I just can't say enough nice things about this defense. This was the test. This was the game where it's we need to know, if we have questions about this defense, the questions are going to be answered, because you're going to have a hard time finding a better rushing team, like in terms of what they can threaten with the QB run and James Cook being one of the best running backs in the NFL. And yeah, like the Bills did get the ground game going in the second half, but it was too late at that point, and they couldn't string it together consistently. That was the other thing, is the Falcons, I think, did a really good job of adjusting after some strong drives. So
what's so impressive is the Buffalo Bills had a million chances to just shift the momentum of this game because the offense just kept giving them chance after chance. First of all, up 14, you have got to kick that field goal. In the first half, I understand wanting to be aggressive, but in this game, when you have a chance to go up 3 scores late in the half, you do it. Instead, you go for it, you don't get it. And I thought the worst. I was like, damn, like you are really giving Buffalo full momentum here. You're giving them a chance to go down the field, score, and then get the ball back to start the second half. There are years past where the Falcons in that scenario don't even get the ball back until they've given up 14 points. That game is tied. Instead, what does the defense do? They go out there and get a pick. In the second half, when Buffalo was built some of their momentum, they go downfield, they score that touchdown. The defense shuts them down after that, the very next drive, because the offense, gives the ball back. After the John Parker Romo blocked field goal, what does the defense do? They force another punt. Every single time, the defense just kept shutting down the momentum. Like, I feel like it goes even beyond the stat sheet. Like, we'll look at the stat sheet and we'll be like, all right, this guy had this many tackles. They had 4 sacks. That's great. But it's like you couldn't really know it unless you were really like watching that game in the moment, where the defense was just like momentum's a very tangible thing in sports. And the Falcons defense just sort of refused to let Buffalo build any of it throughout the night.
That was really impressive. Yeah, go ahead, Al.
And I'm curious. Kevin highlighted a few players. You want to mention a player or two that really stood out to you?
Yeah. I'm gonna give a shout out to Caden Ellis. Like,
there we go.
Caden Ellis has been. I mean, there's not enough good things that we can say about Caden Ellis, since he's been here. But it just feels like he's controlling everything in the middle of the field at this point. The one play that stood out to me was on one of those Josh Allen like patented scrambles where the defense was around him a little bit, like in the backfield. He gets away as he always does, and Caden Ellis just sort of like saw that developing like before it even happened, and he just started making a beeline to Josh Allen from the middle of the field. He ends up getting to him. Allen got like 5 or 6 yards on that play. So that's one of those things where on the stat sheets, you'll see, all right, 5-6 yard run tackle for Caden Ellis. But that's one of those plays where if Caden Ellis doesn't do that, and that's just pure instinct, as a middle linebacker at that point, Josh Allen probably busts that run off for like 15, 20 yards, gets a first down. Instead, he didn't even get to the sticks.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those plays where it's just like Caden Ellis is playing with such confidence and such like pure instinct at this point in the middle of that field that it's like it's almost like he can do no wrong right now.
Yeah, and we know he's like somewhat limited, like athletically, because he is a big linebacker. I mean, he's like edge rusher sized almost. But like the instincts are, like you said, like he just starts full on sprinting to the sideline. The second he sniffs out that he's like, oh, Josh about to run this, I got to get my ass over there. He just like before Allen even leaves the pocket, he's like full on sprinting to the sideline to try to stop him. And he has to, like, if he's gonna make this play, he has to do that. And shout out to him for being like, yep, I just know, I can feel it, he's going. And he just starts. He just takes off and makes the play. It's all. What about you, Alan?
He had such a nasty inside spin move on Spencer Brown. Unfortunately, D. Alford got called for a penalty. But do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like, he beat Spencer Brown clean. Spencer Brown's you saw his name in the nickname list. What was it? Slang Psycho. The Bills' offensive line had the nickname.
Yeah.
But like, he's a top tier right tackle. Like, Caden Ellis beats him clean. And I think that's the beauty of Caden Ellis. It's just the fact that, okay, he can play a linebacker. Obviously, he's going to take on blocks. He's going to blow up some run lanes. But then I thought he would only play edge just because, say, if they were going to run some zone reads just to contain Josh Allen. Because they did that against Commanders with Mariota, and he really limited Mariota. Like, Mariota really never got going when it came to using the zone read. But Buffalo didn't really do that. But he was still lamp on edge at times, and he was generating pressure. And I think he's just kind of at the heart of what Jeff Ulbrich wants to do. So I love that you mentioned him Adnan. But I mentioned a bunch of players before, but I'm curious, what do you guys think of Jalen Walker? Because I think this had to be the game where he played the most snaps.
He started, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he started, okay.
Yeah.
By the way, he had an awesome special teams moment.
That was a great. I was like, I don't know if I like this that he's here, but he did make a good play. So I guess all right, just don't get hurt. Yeah.
But he seemed to be around the pocket quite a bit, and I thought he was kind of one of the main figures by eliminating Josh Allen and constricting him to the pocket where he couldn't get outside it. And it's encouraging to see. I think he built a little bit of a rapport on Yamada. So look, we want to see him get more reps. Of course, Ikic's gonna have his moments, and Leonard Floyd's a steady veteran. You want to see James Pierce evolve, but Jalen Walker's supposed to be one of these guys that is going to be the cornerstones of his defense. So these are the games you want to see him deliver. He may have not gotten the sack, but look, he helped force an interception. Thought he held his own against the run, and he's helping create that disruption to force a play like Josh Allen to get rallied. So huge goes to him.
Yeah, go for it.
One of those guys where he is one of those players that every single defense wants to have in the modern NFL, just because there's so many dual threat quarterbacks at this point. And I mean, we saw it the first major like dual threat quarterback at that level was Michael Vick. And then from there, it began the slow that gradually turned into very fast metamorphosis of what the, ideal modern day quarterback is. And it's like at this point, there's so many, like the best of the best quarterbacks are the ones that can kill you with their legs the same way that they can do it with their arm. Like, how many times have we seen Patrick Mahomes needing 15 yards and he'll get 16 with his legs? Of course, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, is one of the best and most prolific running quarterbacks in the league. And that's where Jalen Walker really can sort of come into play to sort of negate that a little bit, to sort of use that versatility. I know that they said coming out of the draft that they're going to train Jalen Walker only as a pass rusher. And I understand the reasoning. You don't want to overwhelm him, especially as a rookie in the NFL with too much going on in the playbook. And you just want to, let him focus on this one thing. But remember, the big thing at Georgia for him is he was one of those, he's like the queen in chess. Like you're playing a game of chess, the queen can, go anywhere, like do anything. That's sort of like Jalen Walker on defense. And he can really sort of, mitigate the running quarterback. He has the athleticism. He has the speed to do that. And then he can also do literally everything else that you need him to, on defense. He can rush the passer. He can drop into coverage. So, it's just sort of like you see the vision of why the team took Jalen Walker, in the first round in a game like this.
Yeah, incredible stuff. And I also wanted to, you've mentioned the rookies a lot tonight, but I think James Pierce didn't fill up the stat sheet. I thought he had a great rush as a part of that D. Alford sack. There was 3 guys there. They were all, I think D. Alford was technically the first one to make contact, but 3 guys won simultaneously on their rep. It was really impressive. But ending the game, ending one of the Bills' comeback drives, that was all James Pierce. Read the end around the entire way to Elijah Moore. And even if Elijah Moore doesn't fumble that, James Pierce was going to make that tackle. He was right there. That was a critical play in a big moment. And Sam Roberts. Who the hell is Sam Roberts? He just shows up at the end of the game. He just shows up at the end of the game, gets a sack, stuffs the runner. He played 5 snaps, had a sack, and
that screen up.
Yeah, it's who is this man? Who is this man? I thought he was on the practice squad. Someone was like, "Oh no, he's been on the roster." I was like, "Oh, I guess you're right." But it's just, where have you been hiding this guy? Come on. Maybe that's why Taquan Graham's inactive. It's oh, okay, we don't even need him.
The fact that we don't know who Sam Roberts is, and I mean, but we pride ourselves on knowing the 53rd man on the roster and all the training camp battles and stuff like that. But yeah, that kind of surprised me as well.
When we needed him most, he arrived. Yeah.
It's like, oh, did they give a random fan in the stands a jersey and say get out there?
Yeah, and then they went to him in a critical moment. We're talking about 3rd and 1 when the Bills are starting a drive. This is a massive moment. They're like, "Yep, Sam, get in there." And I mean, he rewarded him on that series, no doubt about that. So
He had to play at least 15 snaps.
I think it was something like that. Yeah, I mean, I think it was like the last couple drives he got in, and I think they were just trying to keep everybody fresh. But that's the thing. Like, it feels like they're so well coached that like they can kind of put like a lot of different personnel out there, and the unit as a whole just plays well together. Like, they're more than the sum of their parts, and it obviously helps that the talent level on defense is just a lot higher this year. But like, it's not that different than last year. Like, they added the rookies, and we swapped in Divine Diablo. But like, I mean, the secondary, it's just basically rookies, and Jeff Ulbrich is like made the difference here.
Yeah, they're a lot younger. Just a lot more speed. Like, you just see there's a lot more speed. So
the other thing about young players, and I mean, it's just the mentality in general of, these young players sort of don't know that they're not supposed to be good. Like, I remember a few years ago when the Hawks were in the conference finals in 2021, and that was just a completely young team. And I remember Kevin Herter writing, I think in the Players Tribune or something like, or maybe it was an interview. I think it was in the Players Tribune article. He basically said, like, we're so young, we don't know that we're not supposed to be here. Like, we don't know that we're not supposed to be having this sort of success. And it sort of feels like that with looking at this Falcons defense a little bit, where it's like the contemporary like idea of the NFL is, you're a rookie player, or maybe you're like a late round draft pick, and you're not supposed to be having an impact. And it's Josh Allen. He's the MVP. These are the big bad Bills. These are the big bad Buccaneers. And you're supposed to, lay down and not really have that success. But it's like, it's almost feels like they're not intimidated because they don't really like know any better. And it's sort of like one of those things where it completely plays to your advantage. They're just going out there and playing ball. Like, they're going out there and trying to tackle something at this point. Like, they're not getting in their heads way too much the way that we see a lot of defensive players do against Josh Allen.
Yeah, and it was a ballsy game plan too. Like, you don't blitz Josh Allen. He's like the best quarterback in the NFL against the blitz statistically in his career. Like, he's elite at navigating the blitz. And the Falcons were like, yeah, we know. We're gonna do it anyway. Like, yeah, this is what we do. This is what we do. We're not gonna not do it against you, Josh. And like, I think it honestly like kind of blew their minds. They're like, are they serious with it? Like, they're really gonna blitz me like this much? That's crazy. And like, Josh like handled it well the first drive, but we didn't handle it so well after that. So it was, I think they were kind of a little bit incredulous that Atlanta was being so aggressive. And like, they did a good job of trying to drop guys and keep someone back for Allen. Really, like, the only time he escaped was at the end of the game when it almost didn't matter, when the Falcons were kind of like daring him to run and bleed clock. Like, but they absolutely rattled him. I mean, I don't remember the last game where he threw picks like this. I mean, one of them was just D. Alford made a great play, but like the other one to D'Angelo Malone, obviously that was the defender getting his hand on it. But like, it was a ballsy throw with the defender right in your face. So I just don't know what to say. Like, Ulbrich is obviously delivered, like, from a coaching standpoint. The players love what he's doing. The defensive line under Nate Ollie, who I think we all were like very hopeful given his track record that this would maybe be a major addition to the coaching staff. He's absolutely been a major addition to the coaching staff. And the defensive line as a whole, like, everybody's contributing. Onyemata kind of had a slow start coming back from his injury, but he looks legit again. Pretty much everyone looks legit. Sam Roberts looks legit. Like, I don't even know who this man was before. No, I did look up Sam Roberts when he got signed. But I think he's like a former 5th rounder, something like that. Spent some time with the Patriots, kind of like a traditional 3-4 defensive end type of guy, but they had him playing nose. So these guys, Jeff Ulbrich is just like, yeah, I don't care. Put him in at nose. Do it. And like, we'll do it. We'll do what it takes.
That could have been the reason, just because we know Buffalo, they're so good at running duo. And you saw in that one of their good drives they were just using. Do you think they just want to add like a true nose tackle in there? Because I thought Lakel Wonder was doing a decent job.
Yeah, and he's hurt. So maybe that's probably why Roberts activated. I'm guessing. But yeah, like I thought Roberts was kind of undersized, so maybe they asked him to bulk up. I mean, they do seem to like that sort of. They've honestly been playing more of like a 4-3 nose tackle, like a lighter, faster, like penetration style guy. Like, you know, I like they've had Onyemata, who's just what 310, 315, something like that. Not necessarily big nose tackle size. London, I think Lakeil London's like 310, 315. Sam Roberts was listed, I think, at right around 300. But I mean, it's possible he's bulked up, like if they asked him to do that. I think Taquan Graham, who is another guy that like to play there, he's like 300-ish, 300, 310, something like that. So they're not really going with like the big brawler nose tackle, but I mean, I guess it works with their style. Like they're a penetration focused front. They're going to try to create havoc, and they're okay maybe giving up a little bit against the run if they can make that nose tackle a more of an impact player as a pass rusher. And I mean, we can't argue with the results. They're the best defense in the NFL right now. They are. They're number one. They're number one in total. They're not number one in points, but like they might get there sooner rather than later. If not for that stupid Panthers game, I mean, they probably would be. So
it sounds made up. Like it sounds like it's not real. It sounds like I just turned on a game of Madden, and I just like built up the Falcons to be like the number one defense. Like that's the only realm where that ever happens. And the sample size. We're a third of the way through the season. Like the sample size is there. It's like getting there, and it's like it's so impressive. And I'm at the point where I just like can't wait to watch them play again. And I can't wait to see what they do against the 49ers next week. And it's unbelievable because 3 weeks ago it felt like this ship was sinking. Like it felt like this season was just like on its pinnacle. It felt like we have the Commanders coming up, and then the Bills after that, and then the 49ers after that. And it's like, granted, there was some good fortune with Jaden Daniels and McLaurin being ruled out for the Commanders game, but that's football. It happens. Like, what can you do? Take advantage of your opportunities. They took advantage. And all of a sudden, like 3-2, I feel like we all would have signed up for 3-2 through 5 weeks with this schedule, with this beginning of the schedule. And it's like, now it's like go to San Francisco, take advantage of their injuries. Fred Warner, the best linebacker in the NFL, arguably, is down for the season. The Niners are the walking wounded right now. Jawan Jennings has 5 broken ribs, according to him. Ricky Pearsall, missed this week. George Kittle may be coming back from IR. Brock Purdy's hurt. Like
Mac Jones is hurt.
Mac Jones, like
he's still playing, but I mean, I hope Pearsall plays for my fantasy team's sake. It's a bloodbath out there, but yeah.
I'll just see Mac Jones try to handle the speed of this defense because the way this defense is moving around. Oh man, Mac Jones, arguably the most unathletic quarterback in the league. So that's under 40 years old. Man.
Okay, I was about to say Joe Flacco. He's fair enough there.
I even think Jared Goff is more athletic than Mac Jones.
Yeah.
But it's like at this point, it's like maybe the real tough part of the schedule is the part that we thought was originally easy at the start of the year with the Patriots and Colts. It's like, oh yeah, the Colts, that's going to be an easy one. The Colts are what, 4-1 right now, 5-1.
Yeah.
They're just like,
yeah.
But so it's like you really want to take advantage right now while you can of the Niners and Dolphins, just to sort of, give yourself that little bit of leeway in case you do stumble in Germany against the Colts, because a lot of people are stumbling against the Colts right now. And, don't look now, but, those damn Patriots went from Tom Brady to finding their next franchise quarterback, 3 years later, and Drake May, who's looking brilliant right now. So it's definitely, it's about the consistency at this point. You got a big win. You got a huge win. But it's now up to the coaching staff and up to the players themselves. You cannot let up. After that Vikings win in week 2, it felt like they just completely lacked any preparation for the Panthers, and you saw that debacle. You cannot let the same thing happen again against the Niners. Remember what Brent Key said with Georgia Tech after they beat Clemson? And shout out to Georgia Tech right now. They're 6-0. So a lot of really good football being played in the state of Georgia at the moment. But yeah, Brent Key said that what Nick Saban used to tell him when he was an assistant, more people die coming down from Mount Everest than they do going up. It's like, you've summited it right now. Now it's time for the descent. Like you got the huge win against the Bills. Now do not let up. Like don't make this for nothing by laying an egg and get against the Niners next week.
Yeah, that's been this team's biggest issue is I think you can really give Raheem Morris props for how this team has responded to good opponents and in prime time. I think they've absolutely delivered in prime time pretty much every game with Raheem Morris at the helm. They haven't always won, but they've definitely played good games. And that's something to be lauded. Where this team has failed is in those games that aren't those premier games against those less than premier opponents. Like the Panthers, for example. You can't have that game and be taken seriously. You get one of those, right? Every team's going to have a stinker. We said it before the Panthers game. Unfortunately, it ended up being that game that was the stinker. But everybody's going to have a stinker. Maybe for the Bills, this is their stinker. I mean, who knows? The Falcons, it's not like, the Falcons didn't play a good game or something. They beat the shit out of them. But, everybody's going to have a bad game. So that Panthers game has to be in the past, and you got to go out there now and take care of business. And you don't have to win out, but you're 3-2. Just win the games you're supposed to win, get to 10 wins, and let's see what this team can do. And they have a chance now to defeat, I think that the two of the top teams in their respective conferences back to back. And, the Falcons managed to come away with another primetime win next week. Everybody in the NFL is going to be talking about the 4-2 Falcons, maybe ascending to the ranks of NFC contenders. And that's how quickly things can change in the NFL. From 0-30 the Panthers in week 3 to maybe entering the conversation as an actual playoff threat for the first time in, this will be year 8 if they don't make it, right? So, and the Niners lost Fred Warner, exactly. That's their most important player. That is their most important player.
Oh, he's arguably top 5 most valuable defensive players in the league.
That's just brutal. And they were already hurt, but that one, I don't think they can recover from. That is.
No, absolutely not. They're a mess. But Kev, do you want? I think it's time for listener questions.
No, that you guys have been very patient. Thank you guys. We just had to get all the hype out. And
Allen's a pro. He's
very pro. Pro's pro.
25, and he knows if we keep going for another 20 minutes, we're not going to be off the stream until after midnight.
Yeah.
We need some George Costanza. I'm hoping. I forgot the name, but the person from Australia.
Yeah, I think we did get Australia in here. So, all right. So, real quick, guys, thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Really appreciate it. Helps us out. Also, want to shout out FanDuel for presenting tonight's Falcoholic Live. So, thank you guys so much. Thanks, FanDuel, for that. And, yeah, let's get to some listener comments, questions. We got Trav with the $5. This one must have come in before the show. It says an hour. It's we've only been on there for 45 minutes. But Trav with the pre-donation, thank you, Trav, saying I've been baffled, or being baffled for not taking Jalen Carter in the draft feels like such a distant memory. Yeah, I think the Falcons playing the long game there might be, kind of proving themselves correct. Not to say that Jalen Carter doesn't have potential to be an outstanding player, but Bijan Robinson is clearly a special player.
Bijan Robinson right now, probably the front runner for Offensive Player of the Year. Definitely. In the NFC, Puka just got hurt, so he may be out for another week or two. So I think coming into this week, it was Puka and Bijan, and now
maybe Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. Taylor is going to be in the AFC.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot it was conference based. But yeah, I think Bijan's definitely in the running without a doubt. We got Sour Pickle with the $5 saying, great win, but we can't stop here. Let's keep building on this. Don't let it go to your heads each game, every week. Don't let up. Yeah, they got to do that. They really have to lock in and not pull a Panthers, because I think, look, I'm convinced they just spent all week after the Vikings game at Magic City or something. They were just partying all week. Showed up on Friday for practice. Wait, we gotta play? What? Okay.
I don't want to dwell on it because this is such a great win. But the Panthers beat them in Week 18 last year, and they quote unquote end their playoff hopes, even though they weren't going to make the playoffs. But Bryce Young arguably had the best game of his career. He absolutely danced on that team. So the fact that they weren't fired up for that game was alarming. But look, we're not hard. It is.
They have another chance, but yeah, I mean, you gotta whoop them next time.
Yeah.
So
I can't believe the Panthers are 3-3, but
they are extremely fortunate to be 3-3. But yes,
that's where a testament to the state of the Dolphins and the Cowboys. But nevertheless, it's good that the NFC. Look, let's say it's the NFC South. I think is not the worst division of football this year. There are credible teams there. Even the Saints are somewhat competitive and not a complete embarrassment.
Yeah, the Saints are kind of frisky. Like, they held their own against the Patriots. They held their own against the Bills. Like,
Niners.
They're an okay team. Like, they're not like a good team. They're probably not even an average team, but they are like a team. They're not going to roll over for people. Like, and they haven't been doing that.
We thought they were going to be a dumpster fire.
Yeah, it's better than expected. Yeah, Rattler's been like a solid starting quarterback.
He's not turning the ball over. Like, Kellen Moore's over there, like, building, like, an offense that's decent. It's like, okay, like, the Saints are fine as much as I hate to say it. Like, they're okay.
They're okay. Yeah, they don't really have the pieces to, like, win many games, but they're certainly not, like, I mean, they're competitive. Like, so that's more than I thought they were going to be, certainly. So
now only someone can beat the damn Buccaneers. Like, at this point, it's like,
speaking of fortunate teams, they simultaneously have the worst injury luck and the best in-game luck at the same time. Like,
you got to applaud them, man. What they're doing is remarkable.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it doesn't matter who go. Like, Buka just went down. It's like, now it's like, they're going to have Allen catching passes. They're going to have me blocking for them, and Baker's still going to find a way to just, like, pull it out at the last second again.
Yeah.
They got the Lions, though, next Monday night. I know Brian Budge is suspended, but still, you're playing a pissed-off Lions team. This might be the week they fall short.
The only thing is the Lions are without, like, their entire secondary.
Yeah.
But what receivers do the Bucs have right now? So
it's like if anybody's got a chance,
it's gonna be a stoppable force against, like, a movable object.
Right now. There's gonna be fireworks.
Night game. I'm loving the fact that the NFC South, we got some prime game time games. Look forward to next week.
Yeah, and like the Falcons, like as long as they keep playing like this, they're gonna keep getting primetime games. Like they have earned it. Like they've delivered.
The way things are lining up, the Falcons-Colts might be the most anticipated international game of all time.
Yes.
I'm promoting that right now.
Not a lot of, like, competition, unfortunately, but I think
the people of Germany are going to be in for a show.
Yeah.
Last year, Germany got Panthers, Giants. It's going to be totally different this year. You're getting real quality.
Yeah, that's this should be a better game, I think. No doubt about that. We got Alex Foster with the 5 saying, D'Angelo Malone, I'm so sorry for doubting you. I will be sending you a gift basket. That's by far the most unlikely player to make a game-ending interception. And, like, yes, obviously, like, Zach Harrison gets half credit, right, for batting the ball. But, like, Malone was where he needed to be. He was in position to stop Allen if Allen escaped, and he was where he was supposed to be for that pick. So, probably the most unlikely, like, game-ending play that I can remember. Just that was some wild stuff. Like, if you had told me that D'Angelo Malone would have the game-sealing pick, I've been to the this is Kenny probably. Like, I've been to the future, and D'Angelo Malone has the game-winning interception against the Buffalo Bills. I'd be like, Kenny, get out of here. You can't say stuff like that. Like, you have to at least make it believable. He would have been right. Maybe he did go to the future. So
I wonder how many snaps Bolin ended up playing. I'm looking forward to
like 2. I mean, I think he played. I didn't see him until that last play. To be honest with you,
he must play just because like Jalen Walker was tired because they were spot dropping. So
yeah. I'm guessing they were just like, we just need some fresh guys. Like, we need fresh legs out there, and like and they were right. They were right. Keep rotating. So we got Furball with the 5 saying Falcons dub. LFG question: How come during some parts of the game Josh Allen had all day to throw? Because those moments made me lose my breath. Josh Allen's great at extending plays, and the Falcons did they only blitz 50% of the time, which is still an absurdly high amount. But like when the Falcons didn't blitz, they weren't getting a ton of pressure, and that's just kind of how this defense is. But I think they mixed it up well. And I thought they did a great job with that. And at some you're not going to get pressure on every single play. The Bills' offensive line is just the fact that they got as much pressure as they did against this offensive line. Like, the Falcons were the number 2 pass protection offensive line, which that's kind of crazy. Also, the Bills were number 3. So elite pass protecting line, and the Falcons gave him hell. So I wasn't really expecting this level of pressure, but I'm not surprised that Allen did have some time at times in this game.
Benjamin Solak on Twitter tweeted out from Next Gen Stats, the Falcons blitzed Allen on 56% of his dropbacks, which is the highest rate Allen's seen since 2021.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
that's
like
crazy.
Teams don't blitz Josh Allen, and yeah, the Falcons just were like, okay, we'll just do it anyway.
Yeah.
Also, I want to mention 2 plays, and I think this kind of epitomizes that how relentless Jeff Ulbrich was. When they did the corner blitzes, there was 2 that came up. You mentioned the Alford sack before. That's when Divine Diablo ran like a twist because he also got it back for there. Then James Pierce was there. But the 4th down where Josh Allen pretty much just flicked it up and underthrew, I believe it was Ty Johnson. They had A.J. Terrell blitzing, and they basically forced Josh Allen to panic. And it's just those moments like after that first drive where Allen looked pretty comfortable, Jeff Ulbrich just said, we are not letting him get comfortable. We are going to make him get outside the pocket. And if he's going to create magic, we're going to make Josh Allen produce his magic. Other than that, though, like you're not going to be able to set your feet. We're going to make you flip the ball up and throw in all weird arm angles. And just the fact that, like, could you imagine on a 4th down, a defensive coordinator say, we're going to take our number 1 quarter and we're going to blitz him? Like, Jeff Ulbrich just said, we're doing everything possible to win this game. Like, Josh Allen is not beating us. And it's just the best coaches in the league or, coaching staff coordinators, they just, in these moments against the best teams, you just got to be relentless. Like, you got to just see what mismatches you could create and just hammer it over and over again. That's what made Kyle Shanahan so brilliant in 2016, like that Falcons legendary offense. And you saw it tonight with Zach Robinson just doing everything possible to create openings for Bijan and Drake London. And defensively, just like Josh Allen, you're not going to stand in the pocket for 4 or 5 seconds and go through your progressions. We are going to force you out the pocket, and you're going to beat us by being the MVP that we've seen. And Josh Allen just didn't have it tonight.
Yeah, no, I think the Falcons just did a great job of keeping him in check, and I think they really flummoxed them. Like they were really not expecting this, and I think that's a big reason why it took them a while to adjust. And then after they adjusted, the Falcons they did one smash mouth drive, and then the Falcons adjusted to that. So like, I mean, it was just, I mean, Ulbrich's really been impressive. Like it's not just like coming into the game with a good game plan. Like he really hasn't. Like, I mean, even against the Panthers, like I feel like the defense did everything they could to try to keep that game within reach, and the Falcons offense obviously shit the bed. But yeah, Ulbrich deserves all the props. Defensive players obviously deserve a lot as well. It really changes what this team can do because they don't have to score 30 to win games. They really don't. Even against the Bills, they don't have to. So it obviously helps if you can. And if you can run the ball and keep your defense fresh, that's obviously nice. But they don't really have to win games like that. And that was something they really weren't able to do consistently really until this year. So shout out to the defense for changing, I think, what this team is into a really good defense with an offense that can be really dangerous, especially with the ground game and a passing game that can be explosive at times. So good for them. But we got NC Hammer, our mod, with the $5. Thanks, NC. Says, I'm so happy I could cry. This is what the last decade of suffering was made for. Also, can we talk about D. Alford? Yes, we did. He gained some respect. Mustard. Yeah. Bijan Mustardson. Yeah. D. Alford does deserve props. He stepped up outside, and then tonight they needed him in the slot. He was like, yep, I got it. We got Solaire with the 2. Thank you, Solaire, saying, no draft takes tonight. We have to do it after we lose to the Dolphins. Okay, don't put that evil on me, Solaire. All right, man. But that does feel like the
Dolphins.
That does feel like the most likely loss somehow to me. But
nobody loses to the Dolphins.
Yeah,
did you see that
team
press
did,
conference?
Right? So.
Yeah, that team's just a disaster right now.
Oh, now the party's really
the full house. Right yeah.
Oh, let's go.
All right. Well, let me get to it. We'll do one more here. We got JM Huddle with the 2. What should we call our tush push? The Frank tank? That's a pretty good one, actually. I like that. The Frank's tank. I like that. Yeah, I mean, they were terrified of that Felipe Franks tush push. They shit their pants on that one.
I'm hyped Tre'Shon's here, but man, if we could just somehow get Arthur Smith on right now, I would love to hear Arthur Smith's thoughts on just Felipe Franks getting 2 snaps and resulting in 2 first downs.
Yes, this is what Arthur Smith dreamed of.
You know how I know that Tre'Shon is on Pacific time right now, because it's like 11:40. And he's about to extend the stream out past midnight, but it's like 9 p.m. where he is right now.
Yeah, it's okay. It was an earlier primetime game. We're built for this. Tre'Shon, how you doing tonight?
That's right. Oh man, after kind of recovering from the offensive performance there for a little bit in the second half, the defense just I think Adnan posted a really good video actually that kind of explains what the defense did to Josh Allen tonight. So go everybody make sure they go check that out. But
don't check it out if you're not over 18.
Yeah.
Oh, looking out for the kids, man.
Yeah, good call on that. I mean, we got legends like Sam Roberts getting sacks, D'Angelo Malone coming down with interceptions. This is like what's going on right now with this defense. Who are these people? This has been better than anything we could have asked for.
Yeah, it's mind blowing. We were saying it's like probably like D'Angelo Malone game ending interception might be like the longest odds of like anything I could ever imagine happening in a Falcons game. Like I could see D'Angelo Malone tackle, that's not crazy, especially if you've got a big lead and you're playing reserves. That could happen. D'Angelo Malone sack, not very likely, but like it could. D'Angelo Malone interception. What are we doing? This is just insanity. This is just insanity. So.
Hey, D'Angelo Malone game changing penalty, way better at.
Way better odds. Yeah, that's negative odds.
D'Angelo Malone on a simulated pressure missing a sack is also something.
Yeah, that's high up there, unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah.
I want to ask Tre'Shon because I feel like we haven't really talked about the offense. And look, we can harp on the second half a little bit, but that first half, particularly the offensive line, I know the offensive line kind of fell apart a little bit, but the interior line, like I thought Newsel played one of his better games. Bijan was eating people alive on the second level, and Lindstrom was doing Lindstrom things. I know Tre'Shon, like in the first half, look, Bijan did his thing. Algier had a great touchdown run, but what did you make of like the run blocking, at least in the first half?
Yeah, I thought Matthews and Bergeron were like on a heater. Like the two of them were, like you're saying, like they were just really getting all the movement that they wanted. Bergeron was doing a really good job climbing to the second level. They were doing, I think, just most of their outside zone stuff, right? Like nothing special or anything like that. Kind of feel like Matthews was tapping into the fountain of youth there. Hate to see him go down. I feel like that's probably like maybe not being talked about enough when we look at like the second half performance, but yeah, really happy with what we saw. And like, I think we left 10 points out there. Like they should have, they had the opportunity for that field goal potentially if they wanted to go there and not be aggressive. I didn't hate the decision to be aggressive, but that happens. And then you have Drake just short there. So it's kind of like the offense again, looked really good in that first half, but still like was not at their peak, still had a couple of points like left out on the field, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Boy, we haven't even talked about the Drake London moment. Like, I want to ask you guys, like, live reaction. Were you just losing your mind? Because that moment, just like, did he just really do that?
Look,
yeah. No, go ahead. Yeah.
Look, man, I commend Drake London for going for that end zone. Like, you have a chance. Like, go score a touchdown. You're playing the Bills. Like, don't settle for the field. It kind of reminded me, in a way, of the Minneapolis Miracle, where I mean, look, obviously, all of us were probably glued to our TVs as honorary Vikings fans during that game. And I remember my first thought when Stephon Diggs caught that ball was get out of bounds. Like, you're in field goal range. And then all of a sudden you just see he's like going down the sidelines, the clock expires and there's just nobody around him and he scores. And it was sort of like, all right, Drake London catches it. And, your first thought is go down. And you see it's like, oh, like there's an opening. Like he's got it. He's got this. Unfortunately, he didn't got this, but it's like he was like, I don't blame him at all for going for that end zone, and it's just it's just such a shame that it was like this close to him scoring that touchdown.
Yeah, he made the right decision. I have no hesitation that the team has total confidence in him. It's like, look, if you're if you have a lane, go for it. Because do we trust Parker Romo to hit field goals? Like, really? I don't. I sure as hell don't. He was going to miss that field goal today, even if it wasn't blocked. Like, let's be honest. So, regardless of the kicking situation, he should still go for it because I think he just mistimed his jump a little bit. I don't think he realized the defender was going to get to him. I think he thought he was going to make it, and then he got pushed and just got off his balance a little bit. But he was like inches from the touchdown. And right call, right decision, terrific play. If we're going to get mad at anyone, we know who to get mad at, and that's Raheem Morris for wasting 20 seconds and not because that's an opportunity to score after that play no matter what. Now, would it have all happened the same way if the Falcons had more time? Who knows? But still, it's better to have the time than not, right? So,
Tre'Shon, is that like the biggest frustration when we look at the offensive performance? It was just Raheem's clock management, or I guess we could talk a little bit about Penix. Was it how concerning was that? Like when you look at the offense not quite performing second half, is it largely Jake Matthews' injury, or do you look at just Penix not quite connecting?
Yeah, I think this team still has like spurts where they kind of get in an identity crisis. And it just kind of felt like, I understand them wanting to give Penix those opportunities. Like we saw, I think it was like late in the fourth where he gets that first down to London. And it was like 8 yards, something like that. And like wanting to make sure that he gets those moments and gets that development. But like, this was just kind of one of those games where you really just needed to put the ball in Bijan's hands and Tyler Algier's hands a little bit more in the second half than I think they were willing to do. And Jarrell, when he came in, it looked like he was struggling more in pass protection than he was as a run blocker. So it kind of just felt like, yeah, we really just need to turn this over to the ground game. When it comes to like the clock management, yeah, it was really frustrating because even in that situation where if you don't want to call a timeout, like that's fine. You don't have to call a timeout, but it shouldn't take you 20 seconds to get from play 1 to play 2 in the 2-minute drill. Like you should have already come into that with 2 play calls on that first down. Like that's usually how that goes. And then you're up at the line. You don't even have to say anything, but we saw Penix is having to give a play call. It looked like they're doing like mini pseudo huddle there. So it's kind of just like, just didn't really understand why that's the pace of their offense in that situation. And we've seen that from them before. And some people are like, well, you don't want to turn the ball back over to Josh Allen. I don't really understand, that in that moment, but outside of that, I do think that Matthews being gone and them trying to stay more pass run balanced cost them instead of just like leaning in and just saying, this is the game we're going to run nonstop.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great assessment. And to me, it's like on Penix, like he still looks like a young quarterback to me. I think there's definitely stuff he's got to clean up, and the errant throws, that slant pick, like we promised we weren't going to harp on. I'm not going to harp on it. Zach Robinson can't call that. Like you can't do that. Like Penix can't throw that. Also, he predetermined that throw, but like you can't call that. You just don't put him in that position. Do not do that. Luckily, Penix throws the ball.
From what I just heard,
right?
That predetermined nonsense out of here.
Right. So like, don't make him do that. Good thing Penix throws the ball so damn hard so no one can pick it off. That helps, obviously. But, like, don't make him do that. Do not ask him to do that in a situation where they were clearly fine with just kicking a field goal and running the clock. So why are we passing the ball? Why are we calling a slant against a team that's going to be loading up the middle of the field to stop the run? Just don't do it. Don't do it. And I blame Robinson.
Situational coaching. Don't do it. That's a little bit of a blemish because I still think Zach Robinson called it.
He did call a good game.
But it's just the situational moments. And I don't know, it's gonna take time for Penix, but there's just moments where you just wish he was more creative as a thrower, wish you could navigate around the pocket better. Like those instances.
He was very fidgety tonight. I agree. It felt like tonight more than any other night he looked really fidgety.
Well, also the Carolina game. The Carolina game, he looks fidgety.
Yeah, everybody looked fidgety.
But like that third down, there was a third down where he just forced the ball to one down on a slant. It was just like there was no space there. And I'm just like, And I feel like he had a clean pocket. Like I just wish there was times where, all right, if the first read's not there, like you're a decent enough athlete. Like move around a little bit. Maybe he was a little frantic because Matthews wasn't there. And Matthews has been fantastic this year, particularly in pass blocking. And I also don't think we should probably mention this, but I thought Elijah Wilkinson played his worst game of the year. He's been admirable for most of the season, but Greg Rousseau, AJ Epinesa, even Bosa got after him a bit. So maybe he was rattled there, but I just hope at some point this year, Penix, and we saw a little bit against Washington where Penix just in the pocket, the first read's not there. You go through his progressions there or create outside of the structure and make things happen because you saw that Bucks comeback. Well, not comeback, they would, but you saw the fourth quarter into the Bucks game. Like he literally was carrying that offense and he was making a lot of plays out of structure. So it's like, all right, if you can do it there when there's so much pressure on you, can you get it when you have a lead? And we just need to make a couple plays here and there to secure the win. I think that's just like a little bit of frustration of things. But I thought for 3 quarters, he managed the game relatively well. It also helps when Drake London's wide open a lot. So.
Yeah, that was helpful. Yeah, he just has to process better. He has to get past the first read. He can't predetermine throws like that. But again, this is all pretty standard young quarterback stuff. The Falcons are trying to simplify things for him. The Bills have one of the best pass rushes in the NFL. Joey Bosa, like a lot of people kind of question that signing for them and like, yeah, you can't stay healthy. Like you can't depend on Joey Bosa. I think Joey Bosa has like the highest pressure percentage of like any player right now or close to it. So like he's been playing outstanding for them. We know Rousseau is an elite run defender and he gets pressure in his own right. Like they have guys up front, and Ed Oliver was back too.
Yeah, they got Ed Oliver back. Well, Ed Oliver in that second half was ferocious. And I'm blanking on his first name, but the 96 Taylor.
Walker. He's huge. He's massive, man.
He had like 4 reps, so we're just like, ooh, like he got Bergeron on one play where I think Bergeron was trying to reach him, and Bergeron should have got called for a hold. Ooh, when he puts it all together, oh man.
Yeah,
so
he's dangerous.
That defensive line. It's weird. Like the Bills have such a dynamic D line, but like. Their DBs cannot tackle. Like that's why I thought going to this game and it's not just a Ravens thing because like when you watch like the Bills defense, like they've gotten lit up by the Ravens, most notably Derrick Henry, but like Taylor Rapp, Craig Bishop, they're not great athletes and they just can't properly functionally tackle. And I'm just like, this has to be a mismatch to exploit. And once you saw Bijan now you're getting to the second level, I'm like, oh, they're gonna run for all sorts of yards. And look at that first half.
Yeah. So. Let me get to a couple more of these donations here. Thank you guys so much for that. We got Crimson Huntsman, the 21 months of channel membership. Thank you, Crimson, saying that's what I call a statement win. Hope Jake Matthews doesn't miss time. Well, I don't feel good about that injury, but Jake Matthews does have a streak to protect. So if he could play, he's going to play. But the fact that he didn't come back probably tells you that it's, not great. But beyond that, we don't know. So we don't know anything beyond the fact that he just couldn't return. We got George Costanza. What's up, George? Saying, isn't it amazing what happens when you address the edge? Look at the pressure rate and sack. It's almost like something we've been bitching about for 6 years. Also, Bijan is the MVP. So glad the Raiders passed on him and took Tyree Wilson. Yes, we all are. We certainly all are. We got Jake Innes with the $10. No message. So Jake, if you meant to leave a message and it didn't go through, just put it in the chat and I'll read it for you. Sometimes that happens. So thank you for the donation, though. Appreciate you. We got George with the 2, saying, what a great weekend of football. Georgia Tech won, is undefeated. Kirby uses Jedi mind tricks on the refs. The Panthers beat the Cowboys. Please sign Bryce to a max extension off of this game. And the Falcons got the win on Monday Night Football. I feel like the hype train's starting to get rolling. So, yeah, I mean, this is a big statement. No doubt about that. It's an important game for this Falcons team in many ways. Just to get above 500. I don't care if you just win, baby. Take an old adage from the Raiders there. But we got Painful Quandary 8181. This is Australian dollars. So maybe I think this is our Australian guy. Shout out to Australia, staying up late with the $8 Australian donation. Thank you.
I wish I had a forces right now.
It's not up late. It's early Tuesday morning in Australia right now. I think it's like noon over there.
Okay. See,
this is the geography knowledge we need.
Yeah, we need some of that. He's like, I gotta ask my dealer what's going on with this stuff because I swear I just saw the Falcons beat the Bills. No, that was not a hallucination. Painful Quandary. That really happened. So, you might need to evaluate, what's going on there in other ways. But so far, that did actually happen. We can confirm Falcons did beat the Bills. We got Sour Pickle with another 5. Saying you're right, with better clock management, this game could have easily been 31-14 with that Drake catch and run before the half and being on the goal line. Yeah, I mean, I think so. And obviously it would be great if, Parker Romo didn't miss a gimme field goal, which he was going to miss, even if it wasn't blocked. So
I know that they signed Parker Romo, but it's like, you can't have that like for another like week or two.
No, I think he's done off of that kick personally, but
it's like I don't like, I know you don't want to be shuffling around kickers, but it's like, how confident are we in Parker Romo right now moving forward?
I have no confidence. Yeah.
Tre'Shon, you're the special teams guy. What do you think?
I think you should have brought in some real competition in the off season and not some project player from Germany. Yeah, like unfortunately, it's like as soon as you make the decision to go away from Parker Romo, it's over. Like the same way it was over with Koo. So I don't really know what you do. They talk about that there's always an open competition. We'll see if they bring anybody else in. If they bring somebody new in.
It's like Ben Saul's, right? That's the other guy they have.
Yeah,
right now?
Ben Saul's the guy they have. But once you make that change, like that's another permanent one because now you flip the kicking operation. Ben Saul's is a lefty.
Yeah.
So now you're introducing another new like factor into the whole kicking operation. So you're gonna change up the hold for Pinion and everything like that. So, I like that's why I was weary of Saul's even when they did bring him in, because it felt like a stretch if you have to make that switch really quickly. So I don't know if you make the switch to Saul's this week on a short week since, they play Sunday now after playing on Monday. It's a bad place to be. Like, honestly, it's just, I think at this point, like, it sucks that Pinheiro is proving that he was, good enough to make that statement about choosing where he wanted to go because he's been kicking really well for the 49ers. And that's probably the guy that, it sounded like Atlanta wanted first. And, it just didn't work out.
Yeah. So they're in a tough spot there. No doubt about that. But they have to do something else there because I don't think Parker Romo is reliable. He's passable, but you have to do better. Like, I mean, he can hit the extra points, so there's that. Some teams are struggling with that at this point, but like that's not good enough for me. So we gotta do better.
I was thinking they, while being in Germany in a couple weeks, put it close, they could go scout town, but then it's like they have a German on the roster, so how would that make any sense? So I don't know, man.
Maybe that'll be the Lenny Krieg homecoming game where they like turn to him. And it's like, now the operations, because Lenny Krieg, I'm assuming, didn't miss much in Germany.
Yeah. So, maybe that's just his good luck charm, right? So get him back on his home turf.
That this is the biggest Falcons crisis at the moment. As long as Jake Matthews isn't out for a long period of time, like this is actually the biggest crisis on the Falcons right now.
Yeah, if Matthews is okay, then the kicking situation is definitely. I agree.
And then the kicking situation you don't want to care about special teams. Like you want special teams.
Easy now.
That's one of those things where you just want it to be as quiet and as uneventful as possible. And it's an issue when we're talking about special teams.
And you want to appreciate a nice Jalen Walker tackle.
Exactly. Picture perfect.
It's like every time we talk about it, it's like, oh no, like Xavier Watts got hurt on special teams. Oh, Troy Anderson got hurt on special teams. Oh,
I mean, I don't love it, but
he died there last year.
He's never returned from that. Like, so I'm definitely skeptical of like all these
we've
key
never
starters
seen Troy Anderson since the last time we saw him was on special team.
Yep. So that's unfortunate. So we gotta be careful with that special teams there. It's dangerous stuff. We got Adrian Rust with the 2 saying first half we looked amazing on both sides. Second half's kind of iffy, but still shout out Zach Robinson. Instead of running out of the pistol all game, we did have more play action and even emotion to sneak. Regardless, big W and rise up. Yeah, I mean they did mix it up a bit more this week, I thought. So.
This team has done such little play action all year that when they were doing play action the first, it was tricking me. Like my eyes were going to the running back. I was like, there's no way Michael Penix is still like holding on to this ball. And it's like, and he would have like 10 yards of space every time.
Yeah. So they gotta, I like the addition of more play action. I think some of the fakes could be like slightly better. Some of them looks like we're still not quite like the operation isn't quite where it needs to be. And like the offense was kind of sloppy too, like the false starts and you can't have 3 false starts, man. We gotta nip that in the bud. I get that there's like moving parts on the offensive line in the second half, but can't be false starting at home, man. You can't be doing that. So get that fixed. But other than that, definitely like a good overall game for the offense. Despite some inconsistencies like in the third quarter, one of their better offensive games, I would say. Like easily could have put up 30 if just a couple of inches were different, right? And you don't have a miss by Parker Romo. So, yeah, go for it.
299 combined yards between London and Bijan in the first half. I think that just speaks for itself. And I think it's just really cool to see Drake London back to his best. I know he had a difficult start to the year, but these last 2 games, he's shown everyone why he's the alpha receiver.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Falcons now, I know Mike Conti hit this stat. Number 1 in total defense, number 2 in total offense, number 1 in rushing offense. So
stats
yardage wise, they are crushing it. We just need the scoring to now catch up to that. But you know, you just have to throw that Panthers game out. If you throw that Panthers game out, they're elite. So unfortunately, we can't do that. There's only been 5 games. So
do you think the red zone numbers are better after this? Slightly.
Yeah, they'll be better. But you know, it's just that's the one area they still I think got to get better in, and we'll see how that goes. But we got Brandon Brass with the 2 saying, is it me or is Xavier Watts getting better every game? Yeah, he really rebounded from that like rough, kind of opening drive mistake on that big catch. But I thought Xavier Watts had a good game. I think he's definitely doing well. And thanks, Adnan, for coming on tonight. We appreciate you. I know you got stuff to do in the mornings. Thanks for making the time tonight.
Tom, I want to ask you, let's go, Tre'Shon. We're really not trying to harp on too much negativity because this is such a landmark moment for his team. But I did see you posting about this earlier, and I know you've been watching closely. But Jesse Bates was obviously, you could say, largely responsible for the first touchdown, and you've seen him on film be out of position on a few occasions where he was trying to read the quarterback's eyes and end up costing him. What do you make of the touchdown and just his overall play?
Yeah, I think Bates has a lot of freedom in this defense, and he's earned it. But I think at this point, the staff probably just needs to have a conversation with him about just being a little bit tighter and just kind of being a little bit more focused on just worrying about just doing his job, because he doesn't have to make as many spectacular plays by himself anymore. We've seen this defense, it can play as a group. They're good enough to win together. They don't need individual, I think, star play. Obviously, when Bates feels that he has, an opportunity, you don't want him to pass that up, but it's just being more calculated with it, right? In the red zone there, that's just really not a situation where you need to try to get aggressive against Josh Allen. This isn't Derek Carr. This guy has a little bit of a better arm, and he's just kind of, in that upper tier of quarterbacks. So you have to respect that when you play somebody like that. And I think that, it's not just Bates that's gotten got a couple of times. We've seen it happen from multiple players in the secondary, but I do think that we'll see them kind of adjust and really just kind of tell them, to just focus in and trust the guys around them and their instincts too, because we've seen Xavier Watts have a nose for the football. We've seen other guys, step up and make plays when needed. So as long as Jesse knows that he can trust the guys around him, I think that he'll start getting a little bit better and a little more calculated and start to come out on the other side of those chances when he does jump for the route for those interceptions or key plays.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me too. I think going into the year, they probably felt more like we might need these splash plays. I'm sure they were hoping the defense would be better than expected, but I think they were maybe we might need Jesse Bates heroics to win some of these games. And I think now it's they might be able to just play more straight up. They really don't need him to be as aggressive because the rest of the defense has been so good. It's almost you might want to be actually, Jesse, if you really feel it, you can still go for it, but we don't need to we should probably not lean into that at this point. We can just play our game and play what we're doing. And I think the turnovers will come just because they just seem very stout from top to bottom. And I think they're getting pressure. They're forcing mistakes. They don't necessarily have to create them for themselves by getting aggressive and taking a risk on jumping a short route or something. They could just sort of let the offense make its own mistakes and take advantage. And I think that's maybe a shift from what we were expecting going into the year. That might be why, Bates has been freelancing a bit more, is because they were like, we might need that. Maybe at this point they actually don't. So not what I was expecting necessarily, but can't be mad at it. And I don't think Bates is going to have an issue with it. I think he's trying to do, his best out there. I'm really not concerned about Bates. I know some people kind of are expressing. I'm really not. I mean, he's playing a lot closer to the line of scrimmage than he has in a while. And, it might take an adjustment for him too, to get more comfortable in that area of the field. So he's certainly not been bad. He hasn't been elite like he has in some years, but kind of, Xavier Watts took his role in the back half. So he's got to adjust to a new role too.
His tackling's been consistent too.
Yeah. He's been great. Like, he's been a great run defender. I think the coverage plays haven't necessarily been there the way we would expect, but I'm not concerned. I think that's maybe like why you could even say this defense has a great runway, because like Bates hasn't even been playing like his best ball. So if he starts playing up to like what we expect from him, I mean, this could be out of control at some point. Like, I mean, be nasty.
Mac Jones, Tua, there's got to be opportunities there.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I sure hope so. We got Jason Gaines with the 2 saying Drake London played well tonight. Okay, so Jason Gaines disagrees with London's decision to go for the touchdown.
No.
Think he should have gone out of bounds. Think this cost ATL 3 points. Yeah, Jason, you're entitled to your opinion. I think we all disagree with that. I think when you're that wide open, and you don't trust and the context of not trusting your kicker is important too. I think you go for that every time. He was inches away from a touchdown, so I think he made the right call.
Okay. Also, here's the other kind of argument. He wouldn't have enough time to get out of bounds. He pretty much either had to slide, or just go for it, because he was still kind of in the middle of the field with 3 seconds left.
Yeah.
So I'll salute Tre'Shon.
Yeah. Thanks, Tre'Shon. Appreciate you.
Yeah. So I don't think, right, Kev? Like, I don't think it was possible for him to get out of bounds.
I agree. I don't think he was going to make it out of bounds, and so he would have just had to slide. And with the momentum, and like, he read the field correctly. Like, he just had to outrun the corner, and I think the corner like did a great job of catching up, but and I think that he just mistimed his leap a little bit. Like, I think he thought he was good to go, and he was very close to being good to go, but he just got pushed a little early. And I think if he had realized the corner was that close, he probably would have just dived. But I think he thought he could make it, and he was like, in his defense, he was like inches from making it. So
legit
like
1 yard.
Yeah, we're talking about bang, bang, like split second type of decision making. I think he did the right thing. I think the defender made a great play pushing him out, and I think he made the right call. I do. So
I know people get irritated by football cliches, but sometimes you just got to let football players make football plays. And I just think it was one of those moments where instincts take over, and it's not like he got stopped at the 5 or 10 yard line. Like, we fully believed he got in. Like, it takes a lot for me to lose my mind over a football play. I was losing my mind.
Yeah, I got pretty hyped about that, and I honestly wasn't even that mad that he didn't make it. I was just like, that was a great play. Like, that's exactly what I would have done. Like, go for the throat, put this team in the ground. Like, you need to put as many points on the board against this Bills team as you can. Field goals aren't going to cut it. And, I think like they don't trust Romo either. So that's probably part of the calculus. So that they did what they needed to do. I think it was smart. I think it was the right call. It didn't work out, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you make the right call and it still doesn't work. So obviously great play call too. Like, they were not expecting that. They were expecting something much shorter. So that was a really, really ballsy play. It didn't work, but I think it accomplished.
A run.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were anticipating a run or like a quick out or something like that, probably. And yeah,
but they had 2 timeouts to work with, so maybe they should have been better organized. But like 6 seconds left, and considering how good they were running the ball, and just like all they really needed was 5 or 10 yards to get in quote unquote field goal range. I know that varies with the current Falcons situation, but still, like, it was well timed, because Drake London was feasting in the middle of the field. So Zach Robinson, he's making things happen. Like, week 3 was a real downfall, but I think the last 2 weeks, just how they're utilizing, just getting the ball in Bijan and Drake London's hands in a variety of ways, and just attacking that middle of the field and getting them yak opportunities is what you want to see. I think the next step for his offense is now kind of getting the secondary options or the other. Like, if there's one disappointment, I thought Kyle Pitts would have had a bigger game, and it just didn't happen for him. So hopefully, look, it's just one game. I expect Kyle Pitts to bounce back, but and sometimes it's just game flow. You're not going to get guys opportunities, so it happens. But overall, in these big moments, you got to get your best players the ball, and like time and time again, Bijan was in space, and there's also the screens too, because I feel like the Falcons really haven't done much with screens this year. I thought this was the first game where they actually made some things happen on screens.
Yeah, that Pitt screen worked really well. That first one, he obviously dropped, or like he didn't drop it, but he kind of tripped trying to get around a block, and that'll happen sometimes. But I think Pitts has to be a bigger part of the game plan, and obviously like Penix loves Drake London and he will throw irresponsible footballs to Drake London. He will do anything for Drake London.
That's gotta be a quote right there.
Like he will make bad decisions for Drake London, but we got to diversify it a little bit. I know there's been some chatter about like, should the Falcons trade for a receiver? I don't really think they can afford to trade for anyone, to be honest. Like they already don't have a first, they don't have a fifth. Like I mean, I don't know, but
they don't need anyone like over the top. I think
that's true.
Like a depth piece, and like I think there's got to be some selling teams out there.
Yeah,
like look, people can make fun of him because he needs Aaron Rodgers, but I think Allen Lazard, if they really want a blocking receiver, I think Allen Lazard would be a pretty decent fit.
Yeah, I feel like maybe some kind of deep threat would be nice. Like if we're not sure how healthy Mooney's going to be, just some kind of dynamic like third receiver type. Maybe someone, like I think like Rondale Moore honestly would have been perfect. Like unfortunately, he can't stay healthy.
Who's on the Dolphins, man? They gotta be
right.
Look at the Dolphins.
Malik Washington, let's go. Yeah. Give me Malik Washington.
We can't get Jerry Jeudy, but who's on the Browns that maybe they could get? Like you just gotta look at some of these, because some of these teams are gonna be desperate to sell. That's why I think even though they don't have draft capital, maybe they could make a move.
Yeah, no, I honestly would look into Malik Washington. I think he's dynamic. I think the Dolphins seem to have no idea how to use him. They just keep throwing him balls behind the line of scrimmage, and just kind of really puzzles me. That's really like he's like a route running yards after catch guy, not a like throw me screens and I can break away with. Like he runs like a 4.48. Like this isn't like a blazer, So, but I think he could fit really well here if they're looking for sort of an upgraded slot. But yeah.
Another team, I think he's kind of aging in, but for nostalgia purposes, because like in his peak, he was such a fun player. But man, why not? If they're not asking for much, Tyler Lockett, just throw him in there, see what happens. Or like I don't know, I think because
Calvin Ridley reunion, yeah.
Oh, no, that contract, unfortunately,
can't do that. Can't do that. That would be funny though.
Issue right now, I don't think the Falcons need two receivers with hamstring issues, but
no,
I'm not opposed to trade for. Obviously, but unless they're like clearly done with Raymond McCloud, I think they need to get more clarity about the situation. It'd be unfortunate if they're just completely done with him if this is going to happen behind the scenes, because say we don't with Ray, but he is a reliable option on third downs, and I still think he can play a role. But we'll see what happens with that.
I certainly wouldn't move on from him. I know like Crimson Huntsman mentioned Nick Nash. Like I would see what they have in Nick Nash. Like. To me, like, I don't really get David Sills. He can't separate. So, like, I don't really get like, he can block, but, like, Casey Washington can block. So why do we need David Sills? Like, I don't really get that. Like, we need a more dynamic presence. So, to me, it's like I would rather see Nick Nash and see what he can do. They did activate Devin Tompkins. They clearly want to get him more on returns. We didn't see a ton of opportunities for that. But, I think they need somebody else in there. And
I mean, Ackman used to play receiver, but he's more of a gadget guy.
And he can't stay healthy, so they need to not risk him on offense. But yeah, I'm not sure what they do at receiver. I don't think they need like a major move. They just need Darnell Mooney to get healthy. And, I think that he can still. Like, I mean, we'll see where he's at after this week. But, he did have the bye week to rest up a little bit. So he may be closer to being back than people think. They didn't put him on IR, which suggests they don't really think it's a long-term thing. So he could be back soon.
Did he get a limited practice in?
I think so. I think he did practice, and then they just shut him down, probably because there was some soreness or something, which is mostly precautionary, I would imagine. But you don't rush hamstring stuff. So like if he practices and it's not good to go, Like you just shut him down. It kind of goes one of two ways. It's like the AJ Terrell way, where it's like you ramp him up and he's practicing fully and then he's fine. He's off the injury report. Or it's like you ramp him up and then it's like he's sore. Now we shut him down because you don't want to risk aggravating that injury. So we'll see what it looks like next week. Obviously, they got a little bit extra time, Sunday Night Football. So, I mean, not coming off Monday night, but I mean, in terms of a normal Sunday game. But yeah, I'm curious to see if they try any of these other guys. Like if they are done with Ray, maybe they move, Nick Nash up as their sort of next slot receiver type. I do think he's probably the most interesting option they have. I just don't really get the David Sills thing personally. Like he's kind of a Drake London backup to me. Like he could kind of give you that same possession role, but he just can't separate. Like, I mean, he just wasn't separating at all. He's mostly just a blocker out there. And it's like, well, isn't that what Casey Washington does? Like, so.
Or Daryl Hodge.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I don't have a problem with David Sills. I just don't really know why we're giving him snaps. Like if we're trying to get the passing game going. Maybe they don't really care about that. Maybe they just want their best blockers on the field. So he's probably one of their best blocking receivers. So that just makes sense to me. But, all right, we got a couple more donations before we wrap up. We got Brandon Brass with the 2. Thank you, Brandon. Says 6 weeks in, we got 10 sacks. Yeah, just 5 games too. So might even be more than 10 after tonight. But yeah, they're on pace now for more than 30. So that, anytime you can get more than 30 sacks for this Falcons team, that's a good thing. So I think
drink so.
Yeah, I mean, if at this pace, I think they would finish with 33 or 34. So that's pretty good. That's a very respectable sack number. Their pressure rate is really high, but their sacks, they haven't had the most sacks, but they played a lot of scrambling quarterbacks and stuff like that too. And Baker Mayfield just doesn't take sacks. We know that. So we got Jason Gaines with the 2 saying both our safeties, Bates and Watts, didn't have a great game. Watts shouldn't have given up that touchdown to Ray Davis. Yeah, that he definitely made a mental error on that. He didn't follow him like he should have. Bates needs to stop jumping those short routes. Led to the Knox touchdown. Yeah, I mean, we covered this, I guess, kind of earlier, but yeah, I mean, Watts just made a mental error on that Ray Davis touchdown. He was supposed to have him, and he didn't really pick him up until way too late, lost leverage on it. And yeah, Bates has been playing very aggressively, but I think, they probably need to rein that in a little bit, given how well the defense is playing, but it's not something I'm concerned about, really. We got NC Hammer with a 5 per ESPN. The 335 first half yards of the Falcons are the most the Bills have allowed in a first half since 2001, week 2 at the Colts. So pretty wild stat there. Very impressive. And then we got Alex Foster with the 5. Algier with the first score of the night. He's not allowed to leave in free agency. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be really sad when he does leave probably, but the good news is he's probably going to get starting opportunity somewhere. So
I'm glad he's got mentioned in the question. I feel like we haven't given enough appreciation, especially that final drive. He had a run where I think it was Ed Oliver could have stopped him for a 2-yard loss. And I think one of the cool things about Tyler Algier is he's really capable of getting outside. He's not just this bruiser in between the tackles. You saw against Washington too, where he could evade a penetrating defensive tackle, make a miss, and all of a sudden get 5-6 yards. And he got a key first down. And then the next play, he gets that stretch play, gets 9 yards, and he's just a total force. And you even saw him as a receiver on a couple of plays. So savor Tyler Algier. I think a phenomenal human being. I've interviewed him a couple of times, awesome guy. But what he brings as a running back, and he's that closer. You've seen in the Falcons wins against Minnesota, Washington, and now this game where they count on him in late games because they know the defense is tired. Fortunately, the Falcons' offense line was beat up, but nevertheless, man, I just think when the Falcons usually win these games, Tyler Algier makes his mark. And all 3 games out this year, he's done it.
Yeah, I think it's really critical, his role. And I think a lot of people focus on the yards per carry with Algier, which haven't been great this year. It's Tyler Algier is often running for this team when it's obvious run situations. So that does factor into the efficiency. I don't think anyone is maybe some people still are. Bijan is on another plane of existence as a running back. It doesn't really take anything away from Algier being a good running back to say that Bijan is playing a different game. And I think everyone should be aware of this. It does Algier is a very good running back that I think could definitely be a lead back for an NFL team and probably will be next year. But it's like he's just not like the Falcons are going to utilize him the way they have been, where he's going to spell Bijan and he's going to be the hammer at the end of games to get those tough yards. I love that Algier really does a good job of like not taking catastrophic plays, and like you said, I think he does run outside zone like surprisingly well for such a bruising back. Like he can get outside and do stuff. He just can't like escape and do the whole like living smoke thing that Bijan does, where he just like disappears through people's hands. Algier can't do that, but like, let's be honest, not very many guys can do what Bijan's doing, so it's kind of an unfair comparison for him.
Wow, you mentioned his yards per carry. I am stunned. He averaged 3.2 the last 2 games. Here I am thinking like the Washington Buffalo games, like he had a huge, and I still feel like he had a huge impact.
He did.
If you look at his longest runs, the 19 against Washington, 21 against Buffalo, were both touchdown runs. But I think you make an excellent point. Like, I think the yards per carry go lower just because he's running in crowded boxes, and it's the end of game where they have 9 defenders in the box, and they're gonna get a couple of plays where he's gonna get loss of yardage or 1 yard or 2 yard gains, and he's used in the red zone quite a bit, so that could, I think, that stat total is a bit inflated. Let's just say, So don't put too much stock in it.
No, he's not gonna be as efficient as Bijan. That's asking a whole lot, but. I think he's perfectly good at what the Falcons need him to do. I think if he has to step in as the lead back here, he'll be very effective in that role. But Bijan is Bijan, and he's going to do Bijan things, and he's going to dominate the touches, apparently in both the passing and the run game. So, Bijan averaged 11 yards per catch today. On 6 catches. He was a slot receiver for them. They benched Ray McLeod because Bijan Robinson was playing the slot. Like, they're like, yeah, we don't need a slot receiver anymore. If we want a slot receiver, we'll just make Bijan go play that. He's running receiver routes. I mean, the broadcast call attention to it. He catches the ball really well. Like, well, you'll see him like have a dumb drop sometimes, but like the way he plucks the football is wide receiver-esque. Like, it is really impressive how he adjusts to the ball. He just grabs it off the turf sometimes. Eric catches. You saw the focus on that tipped pass where that was a critical catch. Like, if that goes to the ground, that's 30 more seconds that the Bills get at the end of the game. So I think his receiving chops have taken a massive leap this year. And I think the Falcons have fully committed to being like, this is our featured player. Like, this is our number one guy. And we're going to design this offense around him, a la what the 49ers have done for years with McCaffrey, which we touched on earlier in the show. So he's doing stuff that hasn't been done. I think they said he's now the second player in NFL history with like 450 rush yards and 300 receiving yards through through the first 5 games. I think Thurman Thomas was, I'm butchering the name probably, but it's been a long time. Basically, I think it's been since it's been 20, 30 years, and he's only the second player ever to pull off that sort of stat line. So,
I think it was a former Bill, considering the matchup today.
It might, yeah. Yeah. So
he has 3 plays over 50 yards now, right? Because you look at the Bucs one, the Commanders one, and now this, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because I think that's not a knock, but I think that's one thing that we wanted to see more of this year. Because if there's one thing Bijan didn't do last year, was like those really explosive plays. Like, he just seemed like he was one defender away from making it happen. Like the Falcons were like in EPA, like 3rd or 4th league in rushing, but I think they're like 27th in explosive plays when it came to on the ground. Like, they just didn't quite get those 20-yard runs. But now we're seeing the 50 yards, 60. Tonight was 81 yards, and it's just like, this is what you want to see from a superstar. Right? Like, that's at the last step Bijan take to go along with his progression as a receiver. So
yeah,
folks, just enjoy watching greatness. We're wearing Julio jerseys right now. We've watched him for over a decade be the best receiver in the league. There's no debate right now. He is the best running back in the league. Embrace every bit of it.
It's crazy stuff, special stuff we're watching, and like like Drake London's game gets overshadowed. But like, I think he was the first receiver to have like 140 plus yards or something in the first half, and a touchdown since Antonio Brown in like 2015. So,
Dude, think about this, like the episode, like I feel like the defensive, like Bijan's performance is overshadowed by the defense because how impressed we are. Like, that's how amazing this win is right now. I know we're a wrap soon, but like that's how you think about Drake London, like most weeks we just be salivating over Drake London, and we still are, but it'd be like the main headline. Like, even Bijan's performance is not the main headline because we're just such in awe of this defensive performance. So we have 3 things that happen tonight that is just how you're going to be smiling about it for over a week. Like until Sunday at 8:15, you're going to be thinking about it.
We're going to soak this one up this weekend, Alan. We are going to absolutely enjoy this big win, which you guys all should. Soak up all the positivity around this team this week. National people are obviously, it's a primetime game. They were going to talk about it anyway. Now they have to talk about the Falcons and what they were able to put together tonight. Really impressive stuff. And Atlanta has an opportunity next week to go out and really just put put the NFC and the NFL on notice. Like, you go out and beat the 4-2 49ers on the road on Sunday Night Football. Now we're really serious. Like, this team
legit playoff stakes to make, given the situation. Like, I don't think the Niners are going to be winning division now, given that stake. And look, as well as the Falcons are playing, there's no guarantee they could win division. So I think this could at least have huge wildcard implications. And thankfully, we've seen right now the Falcons have 2 huge wins over playoff caliber teams. Let's hope they make it a third one.
Yeah, absolutely. And the odds for week 1 are not week 1. We're way past week 1, guys. It's approaching 1 a.m. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I don't see the odds for Sunday Night Football or next week yet. They're probably, maybe their minds were so blown by the Falcons winning this game they had to take those down and remake them. But what we can talk about is the Falcons playoff odds. What do you think the Falcons playoff odds now are, Alan? For reference, I believe last week after their win in week 4, they went up to about plus 140. So whereabouts are you thinking that the odds are after this big Monday Night Football victory?
115.
Very close. They are actually minus 106 now. They are favored for the first time this season to make the playoffs now after beating the Bills. They are minus 106 per FanDuel. So a big moment here. The first time this Falcons team has been favored to make the playoffs this whole season. So I wasn't expecting that. I figured I would have guessed what you guessed, like very close, like right close to even money, which, I mean, it's pretty much even money at minus 106. But I'm a little shocked. I'm pretty bullish right now, I feel like. So
by the way, I've been really down on the show. Did Washington win?
No.
Who won that game?
The Bears won on a last-second field goal, I think. Jake Moody revenge game or something. Revenge against Deebo Samuel, I guess, or something like that. That's what people were saying.
Okay, so that's big. Because, dude, I don't know. To me, man, there's like 10 really good teams in the NFC. Like, there's gonna be some really good teams that not make the playoffs. Because you look at the NFC North right now. I mean, the Bears are competitive. You know, I'm not counting the Vikings whatsoever. It's weird. I feel like people are counting the Vikings. I'm like, look, that defense, coaching staff, and you have this second best receiver in the league. Stop it. The Vikings are still in. We know how good the Lions and Packers are. NFC West has 3 playoff caliber teams. Commanders are still a team you have to take seriously. And look, I know the sky's falling in Philly, but they're around. Like, there are just so many teams in the NFC right now. Like, if it was the AFC, I'm like, oh man, the Falcons, and I think they could moonwalk into the playoffs. But the NFC, that's why, like, these playoff tiebreakers, I think, could be huge. So the fact that they got 2 and hopefully a third next week, they're going to need it. So.
Yeah. Because you blew that Carolina game, you know, you could be 4-1.
Yeah, I know. That's no.
And you blew it, but maybe that's exactly what they needed. You know, sometimes teams need a kick in the ass, right? I mean, sometimes you need to learn the lesson the hard way. The easy way doesn't work for some people. You know, it happens to the best of us, right? Sometimes you need a swift kick to get on track. And hopefully, I'm glad if that was the case that it happened early. We didn't have to wait too long to where they couldn't recover. But ever since the bye week, they've been playing much better football. Ever since the blown game and the bye week, this was their best game. I mean, I think it was a better overall game than the Vikings game. Even I think they looked more impressive, and especially considering the quality of opponent. I mean, people were thinking the Vikings were good going into that game, but I think opinions changed pretty quickly about that team based on what the Falcons did to them, which maybe we should have given more credit for that. Yeah.
Vikings are also pretty beat up on the O-line.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
know the Bills had their injuries, but like the Bills still have such a strong infrastructure.
They still got Josh Allen, so so that's gonna. I mean, it didn't. Yeah, so the Bills do look more vulnerable, but that's still a great team. A team that's gonna be a tough out every week, and yeah.
And like you just looked at the landscape right now, like who is not vulnerable? Like there's not a true definitive team right now. Like the Chiefs are 500 and they would still be the best team, or the Lions, for instance. But it's a wide open year, so you have to be optimistic. But of course, you also have to stay dialed in because any week things could go awry.
Yeah, you just gotta win football games. Like and like this talk is fun for us, and like I enjoy the playoff talk, but it's like for the Falcons themselves, like just go win games. Like we can figure out who the hell we gotta beat in January when we get to January. Right now, you guys just need to go beat the teams in front of you, get 10+ wins, and then we can really get this playoff talk going, because we can't blow this again. Like obviously 3-2, you're very far from a shoe into the playoffs. We got a long way to go, but you're in good position, better position than I think anyone would have predicted at this point. This win, if anyone like predicted this win going into the season, you were just a super homer. I'm sorry. Like, and that's okay. Like, good for you. But like, no one seriously was really predicting this win. So,
but I think what's most important, they're building a foundation for success with the defense side. You're having players progressing week in, week out, and you have arguably the most dynamic offensive player in the league right now, and receiver that's starting to come to his own. So. And look, I know he's not played well this year when healthy, but when healthy and right, I still think Darnell Mooney brings a whole new dimension to this. Let's not forget how good Darnell Mooney was at times this year. There was a point last season he had the most 20-yard receptions in the league, and that was with Kirk Cousins. So if Darnell Mooney could get healthy and build a strong rapport with Michael Penix, I think he brings a whole other dimension to this offense. So there's a lot of things to be excited about, folks. Like obviously it's a huge win, but I think this team, unlike last year, has a real solidified infrastructure on both sides of the ball where they could win games every week.
Yeah, I agree. I think like a lot of people are like, oh, we need to trade for receiver. Like I think if you can get Darnell Mooney back healthy, he can be that presence that you need. But obviously we're not sure about when that timeline's going to be. So they may very well have to make a move for receiver. I would still like to see if Nick Nash can be that for you before we make a trade. So that would mean actually like getting Nick Nash out there at some point. But it seems pretty clear that they know that they have some wide receiver issues, and they're trying to find some solutions here and there, but we'll see what happens, how it goes this week, and again, it's like if you can lean on the run game, that obviously helps, and they certainly can. And you don't want to overemphasize the passing game, with Mike Penix. Again, like Penix is a young quarterback. I'm really not concerned. I know a lot of people were like, oh, he's making some mistakes. Like, young quarterbacks. This is game 7. What, game 7, game 8? I mean, like it's gonna take time, guys. Like don't be unreasonable. Like Penix has been fine. Like the only game that really concerned me was the Panthers game. That was not good, but that's very clearly out of an 8-game sample size. That is the clear outlying game. So he's given us far more like serviceable to good games with some great ones mixed in. And I think that's what you're hoping for. Like you just want to be able to build and to not make the same mistakes over and over again. We're a long way from him being like a top quarterback, but I think that what Penix provides you is more than enough for this offense. And he's definitely on track, I think, to being like, I think he's on track for going into next year, and you're feeling pretty confident about his ability to become your franchise quarterback.
I do think the next 2 weeks are crucial for him because he has some real favorable matchups. Like I think the 49ers are like 31st league right now in pressure generated, and other than like Theodore Lamore, I'm definitely butchering his name. Sorry, folks, it's late. Lenore, I just think that defense has nothing right now, and we know I think the Dolphins have the worst secondary in the league. So if they want to expand the playbook a little bit, I think these next 2 weeks we can see Penix play a game like he did against Washington.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're probably going to need to score against the 49ers. Like Kyle Shanahan doesn't seem to matter. He's going to put up some points. But I think, yeah, I agree with you. I
believe in Jeff Holbrook.
I do. I actually do. Yeah. Yeah. I have total confidence in the defense. Like, so it's really just offense can't make a bunch of dumb mistakes, and I think we'll be fine. So,
what will be interesting about that game is the fact that last year, week 1 was 49ers Jets, and McCaffrey was a late scratch, and Shanahan kind of punked Holbrook's defense with Jordan Mason and just a bunch of other guys. So I think Holbrook will be looking at that game like not revenge, but just like a point to prove. And let's not forget, he has a lot of familiarity with Robert Saleh. So I think Jeff Holbrook, once again, second straight week where there's going to be a lot of eyes on him. Let's see what he could put together.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. Genuinely excited. Like, it's great to feel excited about this team. Like, they played a great game tonight, and we should continue to be happy about that. And again, it wasn't flawless. Like, it's not like the Falcons came out and played this flawless game. That's why they took down the Bills. They played it. I would say they played like a 7 or 8 out of 10 game. Probably 8 out of 10 game for them.
Yeah, let's give it 8.
Let's give it 8. I don't think it quite rose to the level of like a 9, and I don't like 10 out of 10 is a flawless game. It was definitely not a flawless game. The flawless game, like one of the only 10 out of 10 games I can remember would be like the Packers playoff game, the NFC Championship. That was a 10 out of 10 game. That was a 10 out of 10 game. But 11, yeah, that one's above and beyond best game ever. But they didn't need to play like a perfect game to beat the Bills, and that's, I think, an important thing. Like, they didn't need that. They just need to play a good game, like a great game, 8 out of 10 game. But I think if they had played like a 7 out of 10, they probably still would have won this game. 6 out of 10 even. I mean, they just seemed to match up really well with the Bills.
And I think what also affected them is the fact that I think Matthews' injury really derailed them in the second half a bit. Like as Tre'Shon alluded to. I think maybe they could have got to a 9 because you just saw the offense could not be as efficient as they were in the first half without him. So, but no, let's be thrilled. And let's also not forget Raheem Morris and Kyle Shanahan have a long history together. So at this Niners game, there's a lot of ties between both these. So I think that just makes the matchup more fascinating. And of course, it's just the intrigue of like, who on earth is going to be playing for the 49ers next week? Like, we know Christian McCaffrey's playing. We know Trent Williams is playing.
I just need Ricky Pearsall to play and be solid. I don't need him to go off. I have no receivers left. If Ricky Pearsall doesn't play, I'm going to be starting 3, waiver wire receivers on my fantasy team. So, like, at a certain point, I do need some help, injury gods. But shout out to Drake London. I was down 30 points in my fantasy league going into tonight with Drake London. And before halftime, well, I think it was slightly less. It was like 28. And I think before halftime, I took the lead. So, so shout out to Drake London.
Yeah, I always say that with fantasy, when you win on a Monday night, it's one of the best feelings. It's just like you get that security. So, and
that was my 1-4 team too. Like, it was like everything's on the line. Got to get this dub, or we are out of this thing and come in a big spot. Drop a 160 burger. So let's go.
You want to do one more question, or we're gonna head out?
No, I think that we're through them all. We got through them all, okay, so we're all good. But yeah, thanks guys for hanging out. It was fun game. We wanna just bask in it for as long as we can. But it is getting late. It's almost 1 a.m. on the East Coast, so we'll let you guys go. Thanks for hanging out. All 3:50 of you sickos still here at almost 1 a.m. Shout out to the 7:15 start. I actually like the 7:15 start. It's a little more reasonable, like, finish time. So
it's good. I'm just not feeling the double headers.
Just have one game. I agree. Yeah. Just have the one game. It's fine. That's it. But guys, thanks so much for joining us. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Trying to get to 10K subscribers this season, almost to 9. So we're inching closer.
Thanksgiving, folks. That's my prediction. We're by Thanksgiving.
All right. I appreciate. I think that's bold, but I love it. Okay. I like it.
I like that you're modest.
I think that's bold, but I like it. If we could get past 9 by Thanksgiving, I'll be pretty happy. But really, I think it's up to the Falcons. If the Falcons start crushing it, if they're really in the playoffs, we'll definitely get it. I think so.
The content's gonna be delivered.
Yes, the content's here. We've been here. We've been here for the hard times, right? So. The show started after 2016, so I didn't even get to enjoy the run up. Also, I didn't have to go live after the Super Bowl, so kind of worked out overall, I think. But
hey, that's a blessing, man.
Yeah,
someone that had to do 2 podcasts and a radio show after the Super Bowl. Let me tell you, not ideal circumstances.
No, definitely not a good time. So guys, thank you. I'm Kevin Knight of Falcon Kevin. He's Allen Strk at Allen Strk. Shows Falcon Live, of course, presented by FanDuel. And a lot of fun, big win. Falcons are 3-2, picking up a win here that they were not expected to get. So now more scenarios opening up for this team, an opportunity against the 49ers to get to 4-2 and really crack the lid off of this season, going into not the easiest stretch at this point, but definitely there are some easy games coming up. And like, as good as the Patriots and Colts look, these are not like the biggest like world beating teams that can't be played. Like it's not, we're not talking about juggernauts. Definitely not the cupcakes that we were hoping for, but good opportunity to still continue getting some wins in here. But the good news is you don't have to win out in that stretch anymore because you beat the Bills tonight. So it's all good. But yeah, love it. Love the great play. And we will be back on Tuesday. We'll have a quick turnaround, have a Tuesday takes to you guys sometime tomorrow with Tre'Shon, who will be back out here. And then we will be back on Falcon Live Wednesday. Have a game preview for this 49ers game later in the week. And then we will be live again after Sunday Night Football. So until then, guys, thank you so much for joining us here on the Falcon Live. We will see ya. Have a great night, folks. Thanks.